She demanded her opponent's racket be pulled off the court and inspected, and what happened next left an entire stadium speechless. 9 games in a row. 1 hour on the clock. A 2-year-old wound finally closed. But here's the question nobody can answer yet. Was this really about tennis? Or was something else going on out there? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why one of the most respected voices in tennis history just told Eala point blank that her game still has a glaring hole in it, and why that hole might be the scariest weapon on the entire WTA tour. Before we get into it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because Eala's story is moving faster than almost anyone in tennis right now, and you do not want to miss what comes next. Let's set the scene. The Cincinnati Open, a hard-court battleground worth millions, where the best players in the world come to sharpen their swords before the US Open. And walking into the Lindner Family Tennis Center on a sweltering August afternoon was a woman with unfinished business. Elena-Gabriela Ruse, Romanian, 28 years old, a career-high ranking of world number 51 back in 2022. And, most importantly, the only player standing between Eala and revenge 2 years in the making. Rewind to 2024, the US Open qualifying rounds. A teenage Eala, still finding her way on tour, ran into Ruse and lost a brutal 3-setter, 3-6, 6-1, 6-4. That defeat didn't just cost Eala a match. It cost her a shot at her first-ever Grand Slam main draw. It was the 3rd time that season a slam had slipped through her fingers in the final round of qualifying. For a young player trying to prove she belonged, that kind of loss doesn't just sting. It lingers. Fast forward to Cincinnati, and everything had changed. Eala walked in as the 17th seed, ranked 20th in the world, fresh off winning her very first WTA Tour title. Ruse, meanwhile, had just demolished Magda Linette 6-love, 6-3 in the first round. On paper, this had the makings of a real fight. It wasn't. Eala dropped her opening service game, and then something switched on. She ripped off the next 6 games in a row, closing out the first set 6-1. She wasn't just winning points, she was suffocating her opponent. She won an astonishing 71% of the points played on Ruse's first serve, and an even more staggering 78% on Ruse's second serve. Think about that for a second. Almost 8 out of every 10 times Ruse tried to start a point with her second serve, Eala was taking it away from her. And here's where the tension really started to build. Because as Eala kept piling on the pressure, Ruse's body started to give out. She called for a medical timeout to get her right foot strapped up. Right after that, Eala broke serve again to open the second set, then broke again to surge to a 3-love lead. 9 games in a row against a professional WTA player in under an hour. Then, right as Eala was preparing to serve for an even bigger lead, the skies over Cincinnati turned dark. Lightning. Officials suspended play. The stadium, packed with fans, many of them waving Philippine flags, was forced to clear out and wait. And that delay ended up telling its own story. Because when officials finally cleared the courts to resume, Ruse never came back out. She retired from the match, citing the injury to her foot. Final score: 6-1, 3-love, Eala advancing to the round of 32 by walkover. Revenge, 2 years in the making, delivered not with a dramatic final point, but with an opponent who simply couldn't continue. Now, you may have seen headlines floating around claiming Ruse demanded a racket inspection mid-match, accusing Eala of playing with illegal equipment. Here's the truth. There is no credible reporting from the WTA, ESPN, or any recognized tennis outlet confirming that ever happened. It appears to be an invented detail from clickbait content-chasing views, and we're not going to feed you a story that isn't real. What actually happened is dramatic enough on its own. A medical timeout, a lightning delay, and a 2-year grudge match settled in 1 dominant hour of tennis. So if the story isn't a racket controversy, what is it? It's something far more interesting, and it's been sitting in plain sight the entire tournament. It's Eala's serve. Here's the thing about Eala's serve. For over a year now, it's been the single most debated shot in women's tennis. And the debate isn't small. We're talking about 18-time Grand Slam champion Martina Navratilova going on Tennis Channel this summer, after watching Eala lose to Jasmine Paolini at Wimbledon, and delivering a blunt verdict. Navratilova said Eala's serve was, in her words, too much of a puffball, that Eala has the frame and the lefty angles to hit it well over 100 miles an hour, but instead serves in the low 80s, and that until she fixes her grip and commits to using more slice, opponents who are willing to attack it like Paolini did will keep punishing her for it. And Navratilova isn't the only legend saying it. Rick Macci, the coach who helped shape Serena and Venus Williams into champions, has been even more blunt. Macci posted an extensive breakdown claiming Eala was taught the motion incorrectly as a junior, that her leg drive doesn't fire at the right moment in the service motion, and that fixing it properly would require what he called heavy-duty, science-based reconstructive work with a biomechanist during the off-season. High praise for the rest of her game, mind you. Macci called her movement smooth, relaxed, and natural, but a serious red flag on the one shot that starts every single point. So here's the twist. If the serve is really this broken, why does it keep winning matches against the best players alive? Because there's a difference between a technically imperfect serve and an ineffective one. Iga Swiatek found that out the hard way at Wimbledon. After losing to Eala, Swiatek admitted on record that returning Eala's serve was mentally exhausting specifically because of how slow and unfamiliar the rhythm was. She said she knew exactly what was coming, and it was still harder to time than a normal, faster serve. That's the paradox. The serve that legends call a weakness is quietly wrecking the timing of some of the most dangerous returners in the sport. And Cincinnati gave us a perfect real-time example. During the very match against Ruse, commentators broke down exactly why the serve keeps working, even against players who scout it in advance. The spin Eala generates, especially on faster hard courts, makes the ball twist and curve in ways that look almost lazy on a television screen, but are a nightmare to read from the baseline. Moments after that exact observation was made on the broadcast, Ruse mistimed one of those very serves and dumped her return straight into the net. This isn't a one-off either. Just weeks earlier in Washington, D.C., Eala walked into the semifinals of the Mubadala D.C. Open to face four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka in their first-ever head-to-head meeting. Osaka, a former world number one who has won majors on hard courts, was supposed to be the toughest test of Eala's season. Instead, Eala dismantled her 6-4, 6-2 in just over an hour. And the serve was the difference maker. Eala won 71% of her first serve points and 79% of her second serve points, committing only a single double fault in the entire match. That run through Washington, which also included wins over Olympic champion Zhang Qinwen, defending champion Leylah Fernandez, and second seed Elena Svitolina, ended with Eala claiming her maiden WTA Tour title, defeating Jessica Pegula in the final. So think about what's actually happening here. Two of the most respected voices in tennis history are publicly saying this serve needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. And yet, against Grand Slam champions, top 10 players, and now a player seeking revenge in Cincinnati, that same serve keeps delivering. It's not about raw power. It's about deception, spin, unpredictable rhythm, and a left-handed release angle that most players on tour simply haven't faced enough times to solve. Eala herself has addressed this directly, saying she doesn't want to rely on the serve as a single dominant weapon, but rather as one piece of a much bigger toolbox that includes elite return games and relentless baseline pressure. And that brings us back to Cincinnati, and to what this win against Ruse actually represents. This wasn't just a step forward in a tournament draw. It was closure. A player who had been denied a Grand Slam main draw appearance by this exact opponent 2 years ago walked back onto a court with her, and this time there was no contest. 9 games, 60 minutes, a walkover that told the entire tennis world everything it needed to know. Up next for Eala in the third round, world number 10, ninth-seeded Amanda Anisimova, who advanced by beating Turkish rising star Zeynep Sönmez 6-2, 6-3. It was the first ever meeting between the two players, and it came loaded with stakes, because a win would have pushed Eala even deeper into a tournament where she had almost nothing to lose and everything to gain, with career-high ranking points on the line for the rest of the season. So here's the real question hanging over Alex Eala's career right now. If a serve that two tennis legends have called broken is already good enough to beat a four-time major champion and dominate a revenge match in front of a stadium full of fans, what happens when she actually fixes it? Because if Rick Macci is right and that reconstruction happens in the off-season, the rest of the WTA Tour might be looking at a completely different, and far more dangerous version of Alex Eala in 2027. What do you think? Was Ruse's retirement simply bad luck with an untimely injury? Or was Eala's serve already doing the damage before the weather ever rolled in? Drop your take in the comments, hit that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, and subscribe so you don't miss the next chapter of the Eala story, because this is only just getting started.